Angelkind, Elevation. Written by Sarah Nicholson. Read by Berwyn Jones. Chapter 1. No institution is perfect, though you could be forgiven for thinking that a kingdom of angels might come close. In many ways, the upper realm of the angelic was exactly as a mortal might imagine it. Miles upon miles of rolling hills, majestically powerful tributaries of the river of life, and food that was to die for. Yet it lacked something. Many angels had thought so over the years, but few had had the audacity to question, and none had been willing to sacrifice everything in search of the truth. None, that is, until Angel Beau Parks of the Guardian Division, District 3. Beau didn't start out as a rebel. Like most newly elevated angels, she was timid, compliant, and keen to learn. She had a youthful appearance, which she treasured. Her eyes were her best feature, a mesmerising blend of autumn colours that seemed to change with her mood. She had light brown hair, not blonde exactly. If it would just have lightened a little in the sun, it would have been perfect. She preferred it in a low bun, and could not tolerate even a single hair out of place. Her bronze ceremonial halo always sat squarely on the crown of her head. She wasn't tall, but neither was she short, and her white robes hugged her slender figure. She was beautiful, as all the angels were, in their own way. Right from the beginning, Beau loved the upper realm. How could she not? There was beauty all around her. She had been rebirthed in paradise. That much was clear. But even in those early days, her mind was full of questions. Admittedly, some of which she didn't dare ask. She could not, for example, understand why, despite their wings, seemingly none of the angels had the ability, or perhaps the inclination, to fly. Nor could she fathom why angels spent so much time eating, when they didn't need food to sustain them, and there was so much work to do. One thing that she did understand, though, was her eternal purpose. That, at least, had been explained to her. Her new home was incredible, but it wasn't merely for a select few to enjoy. It was to be shared. It was her solemn duty to guide mortals in the lower realm below, so that in time their lost souls might also elevate and take up their higher calling. For decades, the population of the upper realm had been in decline, and so a guardian's work was now more important than ever. Without a steady supply of new recruits, the very existence of the realm was under threat. It was her responsibility, together with her fellow guardians, to replenish the ranks. It was a characteristically sunny morning, and Beau sat with her back against a huge old oak tree on the banks of the river in District 3. Her challenge was to find her first mortal to guide. True, Beau did already have responsibility for one mortal, but not one who really counted. On her first day, Beau's commander had assigned her a probationary charge to practice on. Gladys. Gladys was a cantankerous old woman with a thick northern accent. She lived in a nursing home in Yorkshire, England, and could often be heard insisting that the staff had stolen her favourite jumper. But Beau felt little for Gladys, and so she was keen to move on. She hoped that a genuine connection to even just one mortal would help her begin to make sense of her strange new world. All she needed to do was pluck up the courage to cross the river, and she would be there in the lower realm. Yet every time a boat approached, she remained exactly where she had been for the last 40 minutes, hoping she wouldn't be noticed. There was always a reason not to go. The boat was too crowded, the rower unknown, or the river too choppy. Perhaps the next boat would be just right. Just then, in the distance, Beau noticed her fellow guardian, Meritus. He was walking casually towards her. Meritus certainly didn't look like she would have imagined an angel to look. For a start, his hair was shaggy and unkempt. Bo valued order and neatness. Meritus was the opposite of that. He had an attractive quality to him, but she couldn't put her finger on what it was. Sure, the bronze halo that sat lazily on his mop of hair complemented his olive skin, and he was tall. But he was also skinny to the point of scrawniness, and always looked a little shabby, like he'd pulled on his robes in a hurry. He wore a beard, but it looked more like he'd forgotten to shave than a deliberate attempt at grooming. Still, he walked with an easy grace, and always had a smile on his face. "Why didn't you wake me?" Meritus asked plainly, without a hint of judgment. "I didn't want to disturb you," Bo replied. "That's very kind," Meritus said with a smile that revealed his slightly crooked teeth. "Shall we cross together now, though, seeing as I'm here?" Bo nodded, gratefully, and stood up from where she'd been sat. She'd been still so long her legs had begun to cramp. "I just can't get used to it," she said, as she walked around the huge tree behind which she'd been concealed, and the pair made their way to the back of the small queue of angels that had formed along the pier. "You will," Meritus said. "You just need a little more time. There's no rush. You have an eternity here, if you want it." "I'm not scared," Bo said. "I know," Meritus said, smiling. "You can't have made the journey many times, though. There was that time with Equity, and then what, another 3, 4 journeys?" "5, Bo corrected him, reluctantly. "What do we do if a charge moves house?" she asked, quickly changing the subject. "I don't think Gladys is going anywhere," Meritus said, puzzled. "No, but when I have my own proper charges, they could start off in Leeds but end up halfway around the world," Bo said. "Are we supposed to go with them?" "Once you felt the pull, you'll go anywhere your charge needs you," Meritus said. "The pull?" Bo asked, eager as always to learn from her friend and mentor. "What is that?" "That's why we're here. Why we do what we do. Didn't Equity explain that?" Meritus asked, raising his slightly bushy eyebrows. Equity, Assistant Commander Equity O'Connor, to be precise, was the superior angel to whom they both reported. "Not really," Bo answered, her own perfectly groomed eyebrows causing her forehead to crease as she frowned. "All she said was, 'Do what is right.' She said we wouldn't be here if we didn't know what that was." "Well, I guess that's true," Meritus conceded. "The pull is what being a guardian is all about. It's what helps us to know we're with the right ones. Without the pull, we're no better than interfering mortals. The pull is our instincts at work, pulling us to the mortals who need us, the ones who can't make it alone. You'll know it when you feel it." "So what happens if we are guarding someone without the pull?" Bo asked. "What do you mean?" Meritus asked, his eyes darting from corner to corner. "That would be like a maintenance chef with no kitchen, or a proclamation chorister without a song. It's a part of who we are. We can't guard without the pull." "But what if I don't feel it?" Bo asked, allowing her insecurities to penetrate just a little in the comfort of the bond that they shared. "What if I'm not meant to be here?" "Of course you are. The Most High wouldn't have made you a guardian if you weren't meant to be here. Come on." Bo felt reassured. Marginally. She had been told that all angels had a part to play, and she had to believe that the Most High had gifted her with everything she would need for her own role, even if so far it didn't much feel like it. When the next boat pulled up alongside the pier, Meritus held out a hand to let Bo in first. As they stepped down into the boat, Bo recognised the maintenance angel holding the oars. His name was Tact, and he could usually be found rowing from this particular crossing. Tact had a look of experience about him, and surprisingly pale skin for somebody who worked in the sun all day long. His greying hair almost matched the tips of his wings, which were thick with dirt. He was larger and stronger than most maintenance angels, no doubt from rowing boats all day. His eyes looked tired and were surrounded by creases, but they were full of kindness, and he always greeted Bo with a smile. Bo sat down on the rickety wooden bench in the boat, her blue-tipped wings joining Tact's grey. Bo looked around the boat. It wasn't large. It could only hold 8 angels, 9 including the rower. She had chosen to sit facing the district they were about to depart, though Tact was blocking her view a little. He smiled at her as she looked back in awe of her new home. "Not sure you want to leave it behind? You'll be back later," he said, in a Yorkshire accent that reminded Bo of Gladys's care home. Bo wondered whether accents were something that stayed with a mortal soul after its elevation, or how else he might have acquired such a strong and distinctive twang. "I know," Bo said. "It's just so beautiful." "The most beautiful district in the Upper Realm. I should know. I've been to all of them," Tact said. "Really?" Bo asked. "All 33 of them need cleaning," Tact said, looking away and nodding at Meritus. "Surely they have their own teams though, don't they?" Bo asked. "Aye, of course they do. But we're all on the same side. I've been all over this realm helping out with bits and pieces," Tact said mysteriously. "This is by far the best district," he went on. "We've got more space than most. Some of them are crammed in. In District 24, there's barely room to swing a Marilligus." Bo looked at Meritus, intrigued. "Oh, what?" she asked when he didn't answer her silent question. Tact laughed. "A Marilligus. You know, those 4-legged creatures you see wandering round. Some folk keep 'em as a kind of pet. They're quite handy for keeping mice at bay. They're the most beautiful colours. Reds, browns, greens." "They look a bit like cats," Meritus whispered to Bo, who nodded. Tact didn't hear and carried on. "Yeah, we got the best wildlife in any other districts. There ain't many places where you see Hazium roaming free neither. Did you know this was the first district to domesticate 'em?" "Are they used much these days, the Hazium?" Meritus asked. "Oh, now and again," Tact said, waving his hand vaguely. "Some of the older angels prefer using them to the falls. Not as quick, but much more peaceful." There was so much to take in. Bo had already encountered the Hazium. Beautiful, pure white horses with golden wings. They seemed to play in the sky above them. There were lots of other animals in their district too. Bo's personal favourite was the Dane. Little grey stags whose antlers were longer than their bodies. She would often see them roaming around looking for their favourite food, a purple berry called the ostranus. They looked constantly cranky, and their grey beards made them look like grumpy old men. "You still not used to this?" Tact asked Bo, who, now that they were moving away from the pier and deep into the open waters of District 3, was becoming more and more uneasy. She was huddled as close as she could be to the middle of the boat, so that there was no danger of her falling out, her eyes firmly shut. It was as though she could hear each and every fragment of soul in the river calling out to her in a desperate whisper. "Take me with you. It's my turn." The water had become choppier, and the boat was rocking violently. "Oh, just getting used to it," Bo said as she opened her eyes and forced herself to smile, shifting her focus to those inside the boat rather than those beneath it. She gripped the seat in anticipation of the next stage of her journey. "Oh, you're not the only one," Tact laughed at her. "It's a beautiful thing, though, the river of life." Bo merely nodded again and clenched her teeth. It would only be a few moments, and it would all be over. Bo felt the front of the boat dip sharply and begin its descent, plunging at pace down through the swirling vortex that had opened up in the waters beneath them. A lantern of everlasting fire on the front of their boat was all that illuminated the river, swirling all around them. "Right, here we are," Tact said, as the boat levelled up once again and came to a gradual stop. They had arrived at the Arches, the bustling gateway through which all districts accessed the lower realm. "You okay from here?" "Thanks," Meritus said, as he stepped out of the boat and then turned back to help Bo. "See you later." Bo lifted her head in a deliberate attempt at optimism. She hoped that this would be the day that she secured her first independent charge. She could then begin serving the realm in earnest. She felt anxious, for sure, but she had to believe that once she got going, she would love it. This was the afterlife she had earned, after all.